Hello, new moon in Aquarius, and hello, year of the snake. This January 29th new moon brings in the year of the snake. It also points to what our 2025 is going to be about, what your specific 2025 themes will be, what the changes are that are coming. That's what I'd love to focus this episode on is, of course, we'll go into the big themes of this new moon, but what are the bigger things that it's pointing at? What can you specifically look at, look to, feel into, open up to for what this year is calling for? All right, let's feel a little bit into our doorway in. Let's just first talk new moon. Let's just talk new moon. We'll start broad, general, easy. New moon, new beginning, new chapter, new seeds to be planting. This new moon is probably going to feel, for many of us, very hopeful. There's a really positive aspect to Jupiter, which makes things benefic, grace-filled. Do you want to think grace bombs? Now, this is a really nice thing to feel into for planting seeds at this new moon. Let's talk a little bit more about new moon in Aquarius specifically. So, new moon in Aquarius is we're planting seeds. This is interesting. In the new. So, I'm not planting seeds in previous frameworks, previous structures, previous ways I've done things, previous priorities. The more that we can plant seeds into the new energetics, the new ways, the new you, the new trajectory you're on, and just you can meditate on that. We don't have to get our logical, rational mind super involved in that. We can just hold that intention. I know now I'm like diving into practices and stuff. We're going to do that on Saturday. So maybe I'll hold back on taking us into these like deep journey into the activations that are available this year of the snake and around this new moon. And we'll do that in the live. I'm doing a YouTube live Saturday. It's a global, free, open to all of our community journey into the mysteries of Year of the Snake. I really want to do a shamanic deep dive, an archetypal deep dive, and awaken as much of this ancient power that we can tap into and these hidden gifts that are coming online in 2025. So I think I just shared that with myself so that I don't start inadvertently taking us into that while I am meant to be talking to you about the new moon. So I'm going to keep this to new moon themes and point to different rituals you can do or practices you can do, but I won't take us deep into the underworld for all of this awakening stuff. I'll save that for the YouTube live. Again, it's free. Go sign up for it. You'll find links below, links above. If you're watching this after the live took place, the replay will be up. Look for the links. Dive into it. To me, it's just I love this. I love what's available for 2025. I'm incredibly tapped into it. I've been working with serpent energy, snake energy for many years. And a really big wiring just kind of came in for me the other day around ancient primordial feminine. And when that came in for me, this isn't a new energy for me, but when that came in, it was much more than just for our mystery school. It was really for this moment in time, really as a gift to the greater whole of anyone who feels called to tap into these, I don't know, we could say sacred codes. We could say dormant wisdoms, intelligences within self. And so I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to guide anyone who's interested into that territory on a YouTube live on Saturday. So again, links below, links all over the place. Okay, new moon. So new seeds, new beginnings, planting them in the new. This is the Aquarius energy. So this is all that talk around Pluto and Aquarius, age of Aquarius, like we're moving into the new, we're moving into the new. And Aquarius is energy that pushes us into the new in an uncomfortable way sometimes. Aquarius, I'm going to talk about it in different ways so you feel for you what you're kind of sensing into. This new moon is going to point to a little bit more and give us some tangible stuff around what these next 20 years are about with Pluto and Aquarius. But I want to bring it back to you. I want to bring it back to you. What your Aquarius is about, what your Pluto, your power is in this energy. So here's a really good question. Where are you still plugging into old power dynamics? This is such a good reflection around this new moon. And can I, in some of the new seeds I'm planting, can I source my power from new sources? Maybe you were sourcing your power from an old paradigm, an old family system. Like, I feel empowered when people compliment me. I feel empowered when I'm accepted into a social circle. I feel empowered when I get 1 billion likes on my Instagram post. Maybe part of this new cycle, this Aquarius time for you, could be about a new way of accessing power. I love how Carolyn Mays talks about this. It's words along the lines of like, I am soul esteemed, right? I'm sourcing my power from something other than the good opinion of others. I'm sourcing my power from internal instead of external. Like, I don't need the external validation, right, to plug into my power. I don't need you to give me my power. I don't need to take my power back because I have my power. So this is Pluto at 1 degrees of Aquarius. Now on this new moon, right? So the sun has just gone over that. The moon has just gone over that. So this Pluto, power in Aquarius, the new sources of power. And of course, you can think about this externally out in the world. But for me, our conversations about are personal, like personally, how is this affecting you? And so the sun has just gone over Pluto on 1 degrees of Aquarius. The moon has just gone over Pluto on 1 degrees. And Pluto is kind of saying, I'm just getting started, y'all. I am about to mess with crypto. I am about to mess with AI. I am about to mess with all of your technology. I mean, come on, TikTok goes down. Like, that's interesting. That's interesting. Social media is a form of Aquarian energy. It's connecting, but it's connecting in a less personal way. That's Aquarian. It's Aquarian, it's air. It's less personal. There's less like deep heart base, lots of emotions in the connection, right? It's quicker. It's quicker. It's zippier. Social media, it's Aquarian. It's so perfect, so perfectly Aquarian. And for this moment in time, Pluto is kind of saying, and this is what he does when he first moves into a sign, is it takes him a while to warm up, right? So everyone's like, Pluto's in Aquarius, bah, where's the big change? Pluto's like, that is not how I operate. I am the Lord of the underworld, and I move in the undercurrents first, and all of that starts to change beneath your feet in places that you are not aware of. Pluto, Lord of the underworld, Lord of the unconscious territory. I will move in the hidden, right? And then that will, in due time, ripple up to where you can be conscious of what it is that is taking place in these deep transformative places, these death, rebirth places. That's Pluto. Just that on this new moon. No. Let me just tie this back to the new moon. To me, for myself, this would be my practice, and I'm sure I'll probably do this on the new moon when it gets here, but it would be without needing to know the details, right? I don't need to know the details. But if I hold this intention of, may I plant seeds in the new? May I plant seeds for rewilding in the new. May I plant seeds for my relationship in the new. May I plant these seeds, these big, beautiful seeds in the new. May I plant them in the new fertile soil. The new fertile soil that's going to support long-term growth. So maybe feel into that as a reflective question or a practice that you could journey into. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Pluto. So during this new moon, Pluto is perfectly conjunct his consort, Persephone. This is the archetypal couple of the underworld. Pluto, Hades, is who abducted Persephone, right? Dragged her into the underworld and initiated her into her deeper power, her gifts that she didn't know she had. This new moon could be a very initiatory time for us. So when we're in a Persephone time of our lives, it's like we're being initiated into something, but it's oftentimes an initiation that we didn't consciously choose. So feel into that. That might be something that's come up over the last couple of weeks. It might be something that's alive for you. So what is it you're being initiated? What is the rites of passage you're in right now? What are you being initiated into? Can you bring some consciousness to that, some life force to that, some juice to that to help fuel it? Because then we're not resisting. We're not actively resisting, losing a lot of power, resisting something that life is wanting to initiate you into. So what is it that life is wanting to initiate you into? That's a really good reflective question, journal prompt, meditative prompt. What is life wanting to initiate me into? What is it wanting to initiate me into? What is it wanting to initiate me into? And that's big. We're going to hit multiple points of this in 2025. I may have mentioned this earlier, but this is a time that is foreshadowing of 2025. It's a real time where if we get quieter, slow down a little bit, get reflective, and just go, what's alive for me right now? The nodes, the north node, south node, they've just shifted signs, and that's pointing to a territory in the astrology of 2025, a part in the astrology chart of 2025 that multiple planets are going to be doing a karmic dance on. So, right now, it is what is the karma that's coming up, because that's going to be a part of our 2025. And it can be anything, right? It can be boundaries. It could be sexuality. It could be your relationship to your purpose, your relationship to your body. It could be anything. But it's like, what's been really alive for me the last 2 weeks? What's really alive for me? You know, before we get this grace bomb of Jupiter on this new moon, because it's going to shade things and it's going to make things like hopeful and beautiful and feel really good. And yes, we need that. We need the grace bombs. We need the hope. We need the Jupiter, of course. But making time and making space to go, what's here and how can we worked with this in Rewilding membership this month, how can I bring that closer to myself so that that journey of integration and alchemization, which is what wants to happen in an initiation, right? It's an integration of a lost part of self, typically. It's an initiation into a power you didn't know you had, a gift you didn't know you had, right? But how can I bring that closer to myself? And they often show up first as challenging and hard, and we don't want to do it. Feels unsteady, feels uncertain. We sometimes don't feel safe in them because it's such a change. Here's something. This is a theme that I want to share with you around this new moon these last couple of weeks and leading into 2025. This is the one theme that my team pointed out the most in our Year of the Snake episode. This is the one theme. Now, there were a lot of themes, a lot of information. This is the one that they all kept pointing at repeatedly of like, this is the one that stood out for me. This is the one that stood out with me. This is the one that stood out with me. Here it is. Getting good with change. Change can be easeful because there's going to be a lot of change happening in 2025. Change, shedding, endings for beginnings, it can be easeful. I don't have to cling. How can I shift my relationship to change and transformation so there's more ease, there's more grace? We're going to do that on Saturday in that live journey. All of those activations will support that, so that there is ease in all the change that's coming our way in 2025. All the transitions. I liked this word. It's a threshold year. A threshold year. That might be something to like meditate on or deepen into. A threshold year. And may we move through this threshold year with ease, with grace. By the way, Year of the Snake episode, if you haven't seen it, worth watching, because this is the day that the Year of the Snake starts. There's a lot of juice in that conversation. And really, what does Year of the Snake mean? So I won't go into that here. I'll give a couple words for it to just feel into. Would be deep intuition. Year of the Snake, deep intuition. Hidden mysteries, and strategic moves. If you think about the snake and how it moves, right? It's moving, and then it strikes. It's beautiful. So I'll leave you if you're called to go watch that episode. But again, we'll work with these activations and these initiations into this shamanic archetypal territory in that live on Saturday. And again, if you're missing it, you're watching this later, there's a replay available. So would just love if that feels right for you. Even if you've never done anything like that, come check it out. Okay, that's what all of this was founded on, actually. Like that's what rewilding was founded on. That's where these podcast conversations came from. It was actually, that's the foundations of rewilding, are these very deep shamanic, tantric, archetypal journeys. So it would be beautiful to share that with you if it sings. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about this new moon and some of the specific aspects of it. I want to go back to Pluto and Persephone as consorts dancing together. They have more power, but they also have more balance, right? So when they're together, there's more power in the underworld, but it's like balanced power in the underworld. And if you were to think about balanced power in your own underworld, imagine you were standing on the ground of your being, the ground of your underworld, and sourcing power in a balanced way from the ground, the depths of your being. It's a very different place of empowerment, very different place of empowerment. It's a place of empowerment the Year of the Snake is going to ask for, that 2025 is going to ask for. Pluto and Persephone are a very good doorway into accessing that place of power, a deeper depth of your power. I mean, how good would that be? I know for myself, I'm wildly excited for this, a deeper depth of my power, like my authentic heart-aligned, soul-aligned power, because it's coming from that place. Yeah, that feels pretty good, right? I do want to share this is from this place. It's like, well, what does that mean, Sabrina? Like sourcing my power from a deeper depth, truer empowerment for myself. It's like the world will knock you over less. You will compromise less. You will speak your truth more. You will sing your song more. You will dance your dance more. You will fulfill your purpose more. Feel that? Yeah, it's less getting pushed out of alignment, less getting knocked over, less of external influences moving you off course from your deepest, truest truth. It's also less of the feel-bads, less of the self-worth, less of the not loving self. It brings all of that too. That just love for self, that just like peace in our own sense of worthiness, our own sense of value, our own sense of worth, just a peace, finally that incessant voice in our heads of like, who are you to do that? You're not good enough. You're not worthy of making that much money or being that pretty or that relationship or, whatever it is. So I really encourage all of us, myself included, to dig deeper into this new power. This comes back to what I started off with. So if that wasn't making sense at the beginning of planting seeds in the new, sourcing our power from the new, this is what I'm referring to. This is what I'm referring to. And may we all do that. May we all do that. Again, I'll give you some practices in that live on Saturday to do just that. All right. So I think that's enough for this underworld journey with the archetypal couple, Pluto and Persephone. Let's shift over and talk about a little more in the dark gods and goddesses territory, as well as the priestess territory. So this is an interesting combination. This new moon, right? So when it's a new moon, the moon is conjunct the sun. Now they're both at 9 degrees of Aquarius, almost 10 degrees of Aquarius. You could look at your birth chart and see where this new moon is falling, what house it's falling in. That could specifically guide you into area of life to plant these new seeds in. If you want to. We have an astrology masterclass that's totally free. You can see we love giving free things away. I'm just like, and there's this, and there's this, and do this one. It's like a buffet of rewilding goodness. And the only thing is you feel for you what really resonates and sings, but you'll find details for that too. So this new moon happening at 9 degrees is perfectly square, the medicine woman and the priestess. Let's feel into that. So we've got this crone elder medicine woman. Sorry, I just want to take a look at the astrology chart. Yeah, 9 degrees and 53 minutes, and the sun and the moon are at 9 degrees and 51. So Hekate, medicine woman, crone, elder, wisdom, medicine woman, conjunct priestess, keeper of the inner sacred flame, Vesta. The priestess, the keeper of the inner sacred flame, and the crone goddess of the crossroads. She sees past, present, and future simultaneously. So those two energies are dancing together. They're both at 9 degrees. They're dancing together. So you've got the heights, the priestess, and you've got the depths, the medicine woman. You've got the mysteries from the heights and the mysteries from the depths, descending and rising in the feminine. So it's embodied. These are embodied. It's Shakti, it's Kundalini. It wants to wake up in you, in your body, in your life, right? They're square to this new moon. So feeling into, if there was a priestess and a medicine woman square, they're delivering lessons. Like they want to tell you something. They want to bestow something on you. They kind of want to wake you up. Squares make us move. They want to wake you up. They can sometimes feel like that initiation that we kind of don't want. Like I was talking about Pluto ripping Persephone into the underworld, and that shows up in our lives. Persephone moments in time can really feel like life is initiating me and I'm kind of going kicking and screaming. Like someone dies, that's an initiation. A very close loved one dies, you are being initiated. It is an initiation, but we typically don't go in, just open, eyes wide open, heart wide open, real curious, like, wow, what's here for me? I mean, if we did, it would be extraordinary. It'd be that's an easeful practice for all of 2025. That will bring ease to transformation. That will bring ease to change. When we can, of course, there's the grieving that comes. Of course, there's the clinging on, the holding on. Of course, there's the whole grief process, all the steps to the grief. I heard someone talking about change, and they were using the words, and you've probably heard this, loss aversion. Loss aversion. So change, there's a loss happening. There's a loss happening. And what is our relationship to that? How many defenses do we put up around that? How many defense mechanisms do we have around that? How much do we anesthetize, numb out, avoid? How much do we armor ourselves or try to protect ourselves from what we're losing? For example, I am deeply into perimenopause, like deeply. I am losing a lot of things about myself. There is a lot of loss in this transformation. A couple weeks ago, I would say, it shifted for me. And I'm sharing this story as hopefully something that can help you. It shifted for me where it was like, I don't really know if that's happening. Confusion and fog is one of my defense mechanisms. I pretend like I don't know. I confuse myself. I create a mental fog. All right. How many of you have that one? Yeah. Confession time, right? And so it was, I don't really know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. And I was making it really, really hard on myself. There was no ease in this change. There was no ease in this transition. There was no grace in this transition because I was actively fighting against it. Do you see that? Loss aversion. I was actively fighting. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. I can't be losing. This change can't be happening yet. I haven't done what I wanted to do while I'm still in my fertile years, while I still have all this juice, and this is a great mystery to me. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about yet because I'm so in it that I don't necessarily know everything that is happening will happen. It's a great mystery. But here's the thing that changed, and here's what I want to offer you, is instead of looking away, creating that confusion or whatever it is that you do, right? To stay safe, to block, to armor, to just whatever it is. But instead of doing that, it was face it, this is happening. This could be the greatest experience of my life. I've gone through so many awakenings, so many transitions on my journey. This could be one of the greatest awakenings, one of the greatest initiations of my life. And I am going to walk into it, eyes wide open, whole body wide open, and just really curious. What's here? What is here? And I am going to trust my deep, wise self and my intuition to walk myself through this. I am going to absolutely deepen in and trust where I'm called to, what changes I'm called to make, what I'm called to do to support myself through this, who the people are, what are the environments that support me through this. Now, I know that I'm talking about, my own personal stuff, but I do that just to give you something to feel into, something to sink your teeth into. And it might just be a little reminder when a big transition's happening, because we're going to be getting them repeatedly this year. It's like every month is another cycle change. Every month is another transition. We haven't seen astrology like this in 3,000 years. We haven't seen astrology like this in 3,000 years. We haven't seen this. We haven't seen this much shedding. I like referring to this year as the great shedding. It's the threshold year, the great shedding. And how can we move with ease and grace through the great shedding? And I like to shift it on its head and go how can I gather as many gifts as possible? How can I get as much as I can out of this in that state of eyes wide open, really open, beginner's mind. Every spiritual journey, every spiritual tradition will in some form or fashion say you will go further, deeper, journey truer if you can just have a sense of curiosity. Have a sense of curiosity of what am I becoming? Who am I becoming? What am I becoming in this great transition? Who am I becoming? How is my purpose changing in this great transition? How is my body changing? How is my mind changing in this great transition? Because this is happening for all of us in 2025. How is my energy body changing in 2025? So it's beautiful that this new moon also, this kind of foreshadowing, Hekate is a real foreshadower. As an archetypal energy, she's one of the best visionary oracles. If you've ever been drawn to that prophecy, visionary oracle, Hekate is an archetypal energy that you'd probably get a lot from, right? She is the one who really opens up some of those oracle skills. She's the queen of the crossroads. She sees past, present, future all simultaneously. I mean, you even talk about an Akashic record reader, like Hekate or oracle decks or all the things. She is that energy. And so we've got her, right? This oracle sitting next to the priestess Vesta, who's keeper of your sacred flame, keeper of your inner flame. That points to your true purpose, your true sacred callings. And a sacred calling doesn't mean a spiritual expression. A sacred calling could mean have baby. Sacred calling could mean take care of animals, right? What is that true sacred calling with no judgment, no plan, no way of limiting that, no trying to fit it into a box of making money, no trying to fit it into a career that makes fucking sense at all. Vesta doesn't care. She's the flame focuser. She focuses. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. What is it that I have the most juice for? What is it that calls me the most? Because for many of us, especially as we walk this path of, embodying more and more light or more and more love or more and more consciousness, more things call to us. Maybe just reflect on that. I know that happened for me, like, wow, everything's calling to me. Like now the plants are calling to me, like the animals are calling to me, like birds respond to me differently, like the grass responds to me differently, people respond to me differently. And it's really a very powerful archetypal energy to work with, to help be discerning, to help know, right? To help know. What is it that is truest for me? What is it? Because I don't have time in this life. I love this line that I heard. Every time I say yes to something, I'm saying no to many other things, right? And then he used this example of you're at the buffet for lunch. You say yes to the chicken means you said no to the beef. Right? But it's every day, everything that I say yes to, there's then something that I'm not able to do during that time. I say yes to, like, we're going to Australia for workshops, for in-persons, for retreat. I say yes to that. I have to say no to a lot of things in that 3-week span. It's the same for all of us, right? So Vesta, and I love that she's square this new moon, can really help to go, what are the seeds that are most important in the new? Really discerning, right? Really discerning. What is most important? What most calls me? What is truest calling without my silly little human judgments around what I should do, am told to do, would make people happy if I did, would make me money, all of those judgments that mess up true calling, because true calling is not tied to money. It's not tied to people liking us. It's not tied to likes on Instagram. True calling is the thing that just lights you up. It lights you up from the inside out. I was sharing with my partner. He's in this place of reinventing himself. Those were his words exactly. Reinventing himself. You might be able to relate to that. that word in some way, reinventing himself. And the words that I got when he shared that was, and it's from the inside out. It's from the inside out, like not the outside tugging you and pulling at you in this way. La, la, la. It's the inside out. It's the deep, that still small voice within. This is part of serpent energy, deep intuition. We're going to be able to tap into here, right? That still small voice within. Part of our job this year, if it feels right for you, you do not have to make this your job at all. But I know part of my job this year is to really cultivate an even deeper relationship to my intuition. Like, let that still small voice get really, really loud, really, really loud. There's like a crispness that's coming with it, like very direct, very crisp. I don't need to hear, that silly, fun Instagram meme of like, I need a signier sign, like I need to hear it 3 times before I act on the guidance. And, all those things like my guardian angel bashing his head against the wall. What if it was just hear it go, hear it go, hear it go, hear it go. Imagine what we could do. Imagine what we could do. That's on offer in this energy. That's on offer in this energy. Just intuition, act, intuition, act, intuition, act. That's the snake. So you're the snake. Come and do that activation with me on Saturday. I would love to share that with you. Okay, so we have Vesta and Hekate square. Sorry, I need to keep checking the time. I don't want to talk too long. We have Vesta and Hekate, the priestess and the medicine woman, the crone, right? The queen of the crossroads. She's also considered queen of the witches. Square to this new moon. And they're bringing not challenges, they're bringing initiatory experiences to move you forward. I say challenges because a square is typically a challenging aspect, but it's an initiatory experience to move you forward, right? To open you up to some of your magic. There's a lot of magic held in there. Like for me, this is just grounded, simple magic. I had no idea that I could lead people into altered states of consciousness. I had no idea. None. I was a fucking scientist, right? I was pre-med. I was going to medical school, y'all. Like, I thought that was the greatest thing I could do. I thought that would be like really good to have MD, DR at the front of my name, MD at the end. Like, wow, I've made it. Silly Sabrina. That was me listening to what the outside world, you're so smart. What are you going to do with that brain of yours? Oh, I'll go to medical school. And everybody would be like, yay, good. But I wanted to wither and die because it wasn't coming from that still small voice within. All right, so those are supporting us. I'd like to just pause really quickly, take a brief pause from talking about the astrology. I've got a couple more themes that I want to talk about and aspects that are going on in this new moon. But I want to talk about the fact that all of these are archetypal energies. Hekate, archetypal energy, deity, goddess energy, a Shakti, a certain flavor of sacred energy. Vesta, same thing, archetypal energy, goddess, deity, sacred energy, holds a certain set of gifts, holds a certain set of intelligences and a certain set of wisdom. Now, these archetypal energies, they exist in you, they exist in me, they exist in the whole world. When I started working with Vesta and I started working with Hekate, the gift in me, that wisdom in me, that gnosis in me, that I could lead people into altered states of consciousness, that woke up. I didn't know I had that. I had no idea that that was hidden in me. I had no idea that that would actually become my life path, my work in the world. I had no idea. And I share that story because that's what archetypal embodiment activates. That's what happens. That's what, when I say like hidden gifts and these intelligences and these wisdoms, yours will of course be unique for you, just as mine are unique for me. And they're all this intricate, woven, beautiful tapestry of like your soul's blueprint, right? It's like unique to your soul's journey, your soul's path, your soul's potentials. And here's the thing, some of our potentials, they're not switched on. I know this for myself. It kind of makes me sad, actually. There are potentials in me that I've not switched on yet. I have not switched them on. Just the other day, I worked with the archetypal energy of Dhumavati. She was the latest to come into our Rewilding with the Archetypes IX Mystery School. Dhumavati. There were mysteries in Dhumavati that I have never read, never seen, never heard of anywhere. And it was a potential sitting in my system that was dormant until literally 3 weeks ago. It was amazing to me. It was amazing to me. Isn't that fascinating? This is, by the way, what our whole mystery school is about, this Rewilding with the Archetypes IX Mystery School. If you've been hearing me, this mystery school is closing on the 31st of January, never to be run again. Never to be run again. There are 36 archetypal activations, initiations, journeys that activate this wisdom, activate these gifts. Hekate is in there. Vesta is, of course, in there. Persephone is in there. Pluto is in there. Every archetype that I talk about in astrology on every one of these episodes is in there. And it holds a certain set of wisdoms, a certain set of gifts, and they're all unique to each of us. So if you've ever wondered, like, what is this mystery school? What are these archetypes? What is archetypal embodiment? It's that. So that mystery school closes January 31st. I'm 27 archetypes done, 9 to go. That's why the doors are closing. I've only got 9 left, but I'm going to hold a mystery school for a year. I want to hold that sacred cauldron, that sacred container for those who want to journey through these archetypes for another year. But that's going to end. The doors are going to close January 31st. So if that's something that sings to you, if that's something that you feel will support you in 2025, it's part of the reason that I'm holding it in 2025 is because of the enormous transformative awakening energy that is there for this threshold year to be in this wildly transformative awakening cauldron that is a mystery school with 36 archetypal activations into the new. I can't think of anything better to hold myself through 2025 and our community for those who are called to it. Okay, let's go back to 2 more aspects that I want to talk about in this new moon. I want to talk about the Jupiter. I want to talk about the Jupiter aspect to this new moon. So Jupiter is sky god. Jupiter is like, Zeus is one kind of archetypal energy that we can point to. But here's what I want to share around Zeus is the fertility that's there with Zeus, right? There's this enormous fertility that's there with Zeus. This is part of why Jupiter energy feels so expansive. It's so expansive. So grace-filled, so expansive, so fertile. We never want to talk about the fertile side of the masculine, but that's part of Jupiter, is just this extraordinary capacity to, I'm going to just say it, to fertilize with consciousness, right? This would be high voltage masculine. That's what we're talking about here. 3rd stage expression of Jupiter, not like 1st stage Zeus and all of his like weird endeavors. But this 3rd stage divine expression of Jupiter. And he's literally just bringing the gift of masculine, divine masculine, is the gift of consciousness. Consciousness is fertile, the fertility of consciousness. If I were to bring my consciousness to a problem that you're having, and I bring that consciousness with high voltage divine masculine love, and I bring my consciousness with love, no judgment, openness, consciousness with love to the problem you're having, it will alchemize it. It will alchemize it. It will somehow soothe it, ease it, shift it, calm it, right? This is why therapy works. It's someone bringing their consciousness to you. This is why confessions work. This is why Padre Pio, he had some of the most miraculous gifts, right? Christian mystic had some of the most miraculous gifts, like bilocating all kinds of stuff. And he said, the greatest gift that I can give the world is holding confession, is witnessing. Because the way that I can witness something can heal something, can remove the sting from that, can completely alchemize that for a person, thus changing their life. The greatest thing that I can do is bring my consciousness. That is a divine masculine gifting. So isn't that beautiful that Jupiter is bestowing that on this new moon? So where do you want to put your consciousness? To me, I would encourage us to put our consciousness into the new, right? The new moon in Aquarius. Put our consciousness into the new that we're stepping into, the new gifts we're stepping into, the new power that we're stepping into, the new chapter that we're stepping into, the new purpose alignment we're stepping into. I say that because the next aspect that I want to talk about are the nodes of fate have shifted. So the nodes of fate have shifted off the relationship axis onto the spiritual axis. And the north node is getting closer and closer to Neptune and to Venus. But they are conjunct now during this new moon. What does this mean? Lights up purpose for us. So purpose is alive. I would say power is very alive. We talked about that a lot in this conversation. And I would also say purpose is very alive. So purpose. And I love that Vesta and Hekate are in there to bring that focused. One of the women on my team, her word for 2025 is focused flow. I really love it. That's like a Vesta. Focused flow. How do you focus the flow? And I feel like for some of us, there's going to be a little realignment, a little bit of a pivot. This is another really good word that I love, that I can share, that I keep hearing a lot, again, in the rewilding team. And my partner, too, in his, reinventing himself. And he's also going, what's the pivot here? What's my pivot here? I need to just figure out what's the pivot here. And it's almost like this door is closing. Okay, what's the pivot? This didn't work. What's the pivot? This didn't work. What's the pivot? So there might be some pivoting that's going on. But it's like pivot to face forward into the new. Pivot to face forward. Plant seeds, right? For our highest purposes. That trajectory, that true north trajectory that could have possibly shifted is possibly. I did a meditation the other day and it was literally like, I felt like my entire axis had shifted. It was like, whoa, my entire inner axis just shifted. Oh, wow. How do I even operate on this? My entire axis has just shifted. And feel for that. That might be something that sings to you. It might not. If anything doesn't resonate, just chuck that in the fucking bucket. It might resonate at some point, and it might not. I would love to see you for that activation, the Year of the Snake activation, that live YouTube that's happening on Saturday. Really want to support us into, I'm going to get super fired up about this because I start to feel into, I'll give you a little sneak peek around it. Have you ever worked with ancient primordial feminine? Have you ever worked with ancient primordial feminine in the Year of the Snake? Have you ever worked with ancient primordial feminine holding on to your truest true north and your deepest wisdoms and your ancient power coming online? If you have not, come and do this journey with me. Try it out. Come for the first 20 minutes if it's not your thing. I so very much respect that, but I just want to gift our community. Thank you all so much. Huge love to you all. Just grateful to be here with you, and just lots of new moon, Year of the Snake blessings to you. Would love to see you in the comments. I'm always there the first couple of days, and would really love to see you on Saturday live or on the replay if you are watching this after. Happy new moon.